Welcome back to the Balance Bully podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Nikita Renthigpen, always excited to be in the space with you. Listen, people, do you understand how much of an honor it is to sit with another human that is helping other humans go beyond the limits that they set on themselves and deep and into all kinds of possibilities, including buying homes and land and property so they can expand and express their legacy? Do you understand it? You're about to, because right now before you, I have this amazing, brave man, this human that is absolutely busting out of the seams with all the goodness that he is putting forth in this earth. He doesn't know that I've been professionally stalking him, but I have been, because that's a private skill set that's not so private anymore that I like to share. Let me introduce you to Vicente Enriquez, aka Vinnie. We're just going to call him Vinnie for today, but I really like saying Vicente. So if you hear me say it a couple more times. Don't play me. It's just because it sounds so nice. I have to introduce you to him. He's amazing. He is a leader, a founder, a podcast host. Hello, because Road to Growth podcast is one of my new favorite podcasts that I listen to that is hosted by Vinnie. And he happens to have a major real estate firm where they are doing 200 million plus in real estate. Now, you might concentrate that on the economics of it, which is important because money does matter. It is a tool that allows us to do good work, to lead great lives, and to be phenomenal philanthropists and altruistic humans who get to spread the love in all kinds of really tangible ways. But I want you to visualize this from the perspective of all the people that are being helped, all the people that get to buy real estate and literally create new lives, new realities, new opportunities for other people that are righteously connected to them. Vinnie, welcome to the BBP. How are you this afternoon?
Fantastic. Before we get going, I just have to say that the first part of the intro, it needed like a little beat to it. I was like, oh my gosh, she could be free flowing right here. This is like, she did the pause and everything like that. I was like, man, this is really good. I got to take notes. Where's my paper and pen?
I appreciate that so much because my family does not believe I have any rhythm at all. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
How are you doing? What's going on with you? And how are you helping the world today?
Things are good. I'm getting back to acclimated to the daily routine. Yeah. I have taken a couple of recent trips, kind of doing my own personal thing, family thing. Yeah. And it's kind of just, sometimes it's just nice to get back into the routine of things.
Mm-hmm. Routines and rituals can be healing and ultimately helpful. I have a running joke that's usually just for the insiders of Thick Pro that systems and thick thighs save lives. Now, you don't have a thick thigh issue because you are not a female, but it does help to have routines and rituals because they ultimately are the systems that give you structure and allow you to do all the fabulous things that you're doing in your world without being too overwhelmed, at least.
Yeah, no, definitely true. I mean, it's funny how that goes, but you need that. I think that readjustment, that little shock every once in a while, because if you're staying in the routine every single day, a week, a month, a year goes by really quick.
Yeah, it does. I agree that shifting and shaking up things can really be helpful, not only for your routine, to your point, but also for the people around you that feel like they just can expect you to be at a certain place at a certain time and know your schedule. And you're like, oh, sorry, gotcha. You thought I was there, but I wasn't. So how is life as a realtor that's doing so much impactful work? Because you have a team, you're really ingrained into the lifestyle of being a real estate, I dare say, guru who's really focused on really helping people in multiple ways, economically as well as spaciously, like letting them bust out of the seams of their, maybe the way that they saw themselves. I know the best realtors that I've ever met are like, yeah, you said you wanted to, I'm making it up, 1,300 square feet, but why not 1,500 square feet? Why not 2,000 square feet?
Hmm.
What do you really want versus you feeling limited to what you think you can only, have or maintain at that time? How is that lifestyle for you?
Yeah, I mean, and so I coach other realtors, and I think just one of the things that you have to really look at is real estate happens usually when life events happen.
Yeah.
Right. And we're basically like quote unquote sherpas, right? Helping people get to the finish line, get into the goal, right? Yet most people, there's some, maybe it's more so people that have done in the past know where they want to get to.
Yeah.
Right. But for most people, they have an idea of what they want, yet they don't even know what's possible. And that's usually what happens when you're talking to people. They go, oh, one day I want a bigger house, or one day I want this, I want a condo. Right. Yet you look at numbers. I'm based in San Diego.
Yeah.
You look at numbers and the median home price, median detached home price is $1 million. Right. And you hear that idea of $1 million and you go, oh my gosh, that's a huge number for most people. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at it and you go, well, you're not paying the $1 million off the back. You're going to get a loan.
Right.
There's other options out there. There's grants. There's different programs out there. Not all properties are $1 million. So it's educating people and showing what's even possible. And when you can show someone that thought buying a home or owning a home was even in their cards, that it's possible, it's pretty empowering, right? To have that feeling. So I think those are always the fun ones. Now, of course, it's definitely nice when someone's like, I got all my stuff together, I'm ready to buy tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of, it's already free flowing. Yeah. But the ones that are like, you're working with them for a year, for 2 years, 3 years, and you're building that game plan. And then you finally go, this was the person that was barely paying rent and now they own a property. It's a different story, I guess.
Now, you actually just said something that I would have never even considered. I never would have considered that you could have someone like you in your profession as a real estate professional enter into your life until you were fully ready. So the fact that there's a larger relationship building portion of what you do that's not just about having relationships with people who are buying multiple properties for, regardless of what their reasons are. Because that's what ignorantly, that's what I would have thought. I would have thought that you really only create those relationships in your industry for people who are, flipping houses, constantly buying properties. Maybe they have a business where they need, additional land or for retreat centers or different things like that. But you just said, I could be working with someone for multiple years while they're getting ready and building that relationship. You just blew my mind with that, because that's not something that you think about. And maybe that isn't typical for most real estate agents. Maybe that's a Vinnie thing.
Well, the thing is, you have to think of, right, that most people in life, right, come from scarcity.
Yeah.
Right? Come from scarcity, right? So going, I need the money now, right? And if you are working with a buyer client, you're probably not going to see the effects of what happens with that client at the earliest 30 days, but more likely you're talking about, 2-3 months, right?
Okay.
So you're going, oh my gosh, well, I need the money now. I got to find a way to survive, right? So the ability to come from abundance, saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to be talking to so-and-so over here, and they're not really able to purchase for the next couple of years. It's hard for most people to look past that. I'm not going to see anything out of this for the next couple of years. Right. And the way I look at it is, if there's a will, there's a way. And the people that are a couple of years out, they still need help. They probably need more help than the people that are ready to buy today.
Yeah.
And what does it really take of my time to have that conversation, to have that extra push? And talk to them, guidance, because I do this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
They might read something, but if you can go online and ask the question, you're going to get a lot of different results, especially state to state.
Yeah, 1,000%. I love that you've normalized this, but I don't think this is normal. I really think that this is a moat difference for your business compared to many other real estate firms and agencies. I can think of very few people, and I meet a lot of people in the work that that I do,
Yeah.
And for all different backgrounds, and they're coming to me for very different reasons. But I can't think of one person out of all the real estate experts that I've met that actually look forward to holding space for people who aren't quite there, not pressuring them to, buy something that they can't afford, but really helping them see the possibilities by saying, you know what, I'm going to hold space. I'm still handling my business. I'm still growing my company. I'm still doing what I need to do and serving the buyer clients who are already in the moment, and like emphasis on A&D. And I'm still holding space. So I'm here. Got some questions, send them my way. You don't got to go to Google. Like, we got you. Someone on our team will assist you. Vinnie, that is not normal. that is a moat difference for your business. And I'm curious where that came from for you as, a human, a man, a husband, someone who has multiple spinning plates that you have to manage as well as you're building this beautiful business. How, or why should I say, did you decide to hold space for people and help them grow into their possibilities?
Yeah, I mean, so my father was born in Mexico. He's Mexican descent. My mom, Irish descent by a couple generations. And I think one of the things, at least on the Hispanic side, from those relatives, they looked at, from growing up, they looked at people of, I guess, power, right? Of education, right? Like an attorney, a doctor, a realtor. I mean, whatever it is, as they have the information.
Yeah.
And I have to listen to what they're going to give me. Right. Yet it wasn't, it was like a one-sided conversation where the person of quote unquote power of knowledge is giving the information, but not allowing the other person to ask the questions.
Come on.
Right. And so I looked at it and I go, this is not, the Wizard of Oz, the great and powerful Oz, where I have to be better and bigger than the other people. And I know there's a lot of people in my field that try to push themselves out there like that.
Yeah.
And that kind of turns me off a little bit. I look at it that I want to be on the same level as other people. Yes, I have a higher education on this topic, yet there's going to be a higher education that they have, knowledge base that they have on another topic, right?
Right.
So if I can bring honest information to that person, right, I helped out someone's father, mother, cousin, whoever it might be, and that could be what I wish happens to one of my relatives that's looking in another field.
Right. You literally are the definition of do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Exactly, right?
Right. Yeah. I knew it was the reason that we had to come back together. After you honored me by hosting me on your show, Road to Growth podcast, there was so much energy that was unspoken of the peacefulness that's within you. Now, it might be within you under the crazy spinning plates, right? Like of all that's going on. But I sense that was there, and we didn't have this conversation about this specific topic at all. Like we didn't even come close to it. So I definitely honor you for you seeing people as people and not just as, dollar signs or gold bars or whatever. And again, we are not taking away from the fact that money matters, because it does. And it allows you to do a lot of good in the world. So we want people to have more and have access to that, and having more confidence and feeling really good about yourself, your internal barometer, your system, as well as where you live does matter. And it does help people to go after bigger and better things, according to whatever their life plan is supposed to be. So I really, really thank you and value that so much.
Well, and I agree with you. I mean, especially people I've had on my podcast, and just people in general, right? There's a lot of people out there that think that, well, I can't make money and be a good person.
Right.
Right. It's like one or the other. Like, I'm going to basically give my services for free because I want to help people. Yet you're not going to survive. I mean, I have relatives that are like this. I have a relative that has is trying to build a nonprofit boxing. He's an ex-professional boxer.
Wow.
But he's so bad about actually charging money for his services because he wants to give back to the kids in his area, his community. So he basically takes them on for, I think it's like $5 a week or $5 a month, something really minimal. And he's just doing it out of the goodness of his heart. But I'm like, you have to charge more because you can't survive. You can't be needing water and try to give other water to other people. I mean, you have to be able to survive. So it's finding that balancing act, I think, of both.
Yeah, 1,000%. And to the point, it's the creating of it. And your uncle has a good heart and obviously skill sets, but doesn't necessarily have that business acumen behind him. So partnering him with someone like Suzanne G from Thrive Public Affairs, who I think is a saint on every level. She literally knocks on these doors of these big companies, these corporations, looks at their corporate social responsibility that they claim to have, especially if they're a public stock facing company. What are you doing for this community? Oh, you don't know what to do? Well, here's this guy right here who knows exactly what to do. And you need to sponsor these kids. So pay him so he can keep doing the good work and he can build a team of other people. But sometimes we just don't know, right? Like until we build these relationships and have those conversations. On the other side, in addition to the money, there's the energy that goes out that people like your amazing uncle are constantly expending that then pull away from their opportunities, not necessarily in his case, but in other cases where they want to, enlarge in their real estate, build their portfolio, leave legacy via land to their families, but they've been emotionally spent and they've gone emotionally broke by constantly giving so much away. And for you on the other side, as a real estate expert and professional who also has a family and runs a podcast and leads a team and coaches people and all the spinning plates, I can imagine that you have people constantly pulling on you for your intellectual acumen, right? Like all the things. And they're like, oh, well, I got you, over a $5 sandwich and a $4, cafe latte. Like, can you tell me all the secrets give me the keys to the kingdom? Are you able to, create those boundaries? Or I guess a better question is, what do some of those boundaries look like for you when you have people wanting you so much and constantly pulling at you for your time, let alone your intellect?
Yeah, I mean, my calendar is basically everything for me. I mean, I've had this conversation with other people in the past that time is so valuable for me. Like being on time is just so valuable for me. Maybe even to a fault where if someone's late, even by a couple minutes, I have a negative vibe towards it. Yeah. Just because, I mean, I look at it as if you're late, you don't value my time. And maybe there's and I've pulled back on the reins a little bit on that. But that's been one of the things for me is just time. Yeah. And then also understanding the opportunity cost. But for the most part, if someone's reaches out to me in a cordially way, right? Even people, someone I coach or someone just separate that's trying to sell me on stuff, I'll usually hear them out, right? And I'll try to dive deeper into what they're actually trying to get across. Because I mean, I actually had someone today who was reaching out to me about, they were giving me a lot of fluff about something. And I was like, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. Can you please, what are you looking to accomplish? Are you looking this? And then they kept on trying to put more fluff on it. Yeah. And I go, okay, well, I don't have time for this, and try to be very cordial, right? With the whole thing. But I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. The one thing that, like you talked about, can you give me the secret? Right. One of two, like basically a similar, I guess, pet peeve is when someone's asking for help, but they don't do anything with those actions. Woo. Right. It's like, okay, you're basically asking me this, and this, but you're not doing anything. And then you're just asking more questions because you're trying to get out of you doing something, but it makes you feel like you're doing something by asking me, but you're not going to do anything with this. Yes. And so that right there, and is if I'm fine with people failing, even on my team, I'm fine with people failing, right? It is as long as they don't do that same mistake over and over. If they learn from it, right? If they're doing it, if they ask me, hey, what do you think of this? they make a change.
Yeah.
But if they're constantly doing the same thing or not making action on it, it just gets under my skin a little bit.
Big time. You want to fell forward. So you're literally, or as some people say, fell up. I forget. There's an author of that book. I just can't think of who it is. But felling forward and felling up. I completely hear you. That is lying and bullying and inaction are three major challenges that the Lord is working with me on, because they definitely are pet peeves too. So I feel you on that, especially when you've, given so much of your time and knowing how valuable it is. Sometimes I think when people have so much access to you, they diminish the value, not because they don't appreciate you and not because they don't respect you or any of that. They just don't understand that people pay thousands of dollars for this. And because of proximity, because you're my nephew, because you like whatever the case is, I'm giving you gems, dude. And you're not running. You ask for them. I'm not just giving them to you to give them to you. You ask. So I'm delivering. And you're looking at the plate of food saying, oh, I'm just so hungry. It's right in front of your face. So if you're constantly saying you're hungry and I put it right in front of your face after you ask for it and you're not eating it, at some point, I'm going to stop listening to your, what do they call it? The wolf cry of you constantly saying you're hungry when it's like the food was right there. The food, the fork, the knife, everything. It was right there. You just chose to focus on what wasn't on the plate instead of what was. So I feel you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I know it's like precisely what you said, and it made me think of something that this artist person I had on my podcast that told me is that he's from back east, but he lives in LA, and he says, and he's worked with a good volume of celebrities, right, with his artwork. But every time he'd go back to his hometown, right, it was people would look almost like kind of down on him, but not really giving him the respect that he's earned in his time in LA. And kind of how he kind of brought that up was when those people that I kind of see when I go back there see me, it's almost like what they could have been. Yeah. Right. And so that's why you almost have to be sometimes out of your element, out of the group that you're with to get the respect or whatever you're going to call it, because those people don't have those preconceptions of you, I guess. I mean, so I don't know, that's kind of popped in my head when you're kind of talking about that.
No, you're 100%. I'm a minister, that from our previous conversations. And the first thing that dropped in my spirit when you shared that example is a prophet is not recognized in their own home. You typically have to go out and do the great miracles there, because the miracles here, you were like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? Aren't you just a carpenter? And like, it's a miracle, dude. Take it. So I feel you completely. That was a really good example that you gave. So with everything that you have going on and all the spinning plates that we talked about, how are you giving yourself permission to pause?
It's probably something that it's taken me a while to do this. So I mean, I've told this story many times. I've always been one that basically can focus on where I'm going to get. I can work 7 days a week, and I know, okay, well, I'm going to get to this point right here. Yeah. I don't need to enjoy my day-to-day routine. And before I got married, I was in a long-term relationship with someone, and it basically killed the relationship because I was focusing on my work. Well, I enjoyed life, but I focused on my work. That was the priority. And it failed miserably, the relationship. Yeah. And so when I came out of that, I really looked at a lot of self-help stuff. I really looked at a lot of stuff about kind of getting better as a person. Right. And I was able to find a significant other, and with that significant other, she's really adamant about wanting this stuff now. Yes. Right. I want it now. I want this now. Right. And I'm always one still to plan for the future. So it's been kind of like a balancing act of her wanting the now and me going the future. And that's kind of coming in between, and me making a conscious effort from my mistakes in the past to know that, hey, when I'm in personal time, relationship time, that I'm in personal time and relationship time. When I'm in work time, I got to focus on work time, right?
Yeah.
So really making, even though I have the calendar, really living in the calendar and going, hey, I need to incorporate basically personal time, relationship time. So when I get off work, unless it's really important, I'm not doing work stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fine balance. First of all, kudos to your forever lover for having her expanded boundaries to say, I love you enough to want more of you. And I need you to make sure you prioritize that we time just as much as you prioritize that work time. I'm with her all day. Yes, honey. Yes. So how can people connect with you and find out more about your business and either working with you, for you, or receiving your assistance with real estate in the San Diego area?
Yeah, I mean, so you can go to our website, theenriquezgroup.com. And it'll be in the show notes, I believe.
Yes.
And then also my phone number. I mean, feel free to reach out. I mean, if I don't pick up, feel free to send a text message. I'm always open to, if you're trying to ask questions, talk, I mean, trying to sell me on stuff. It's always funny with salespeople. I even listen to like people that are trying to sell me stuff because I'm always curious about what their pitch is. Mm-hmm. And then I'll hear stuff that I go, oh my gosh, I like that. For the most part, I mean, it needs to be worked on, but there's some people that out there, you have a great skill set and you go, okay, I like what you just said right there. I'm not looking to maybe buy your product now, but I like what you're saying right there. I like your pitch. 858-345-7829.
That's so awesome on so many levels. Now, I will say, and for as a ambitious woman in business representing and honoring Vinnie's forever lover, do not call after 8 p.m. Pacific time, okay? Because he's doing other things. He's prioritizing his life.
Well, that's one thing that the people around me know is, so I wake up early. I wake up between 4:15 and 4:30 every day. But I go to sleep really early. I go to sleep probably about like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And it's just so, so if you call me a little bit, even 8:39, it's, probably won't even pick the phone. The funny thing is my phone, and this is something that probably no one really knows, is usually on silent.
Ah, yes.
It's like even during the day, because I'm doing, one thing that, my brother-in-law's coach told him, and I thought this was really, this is more powerful than I've even been able to take in. But he goes, how many times do you check your mailbox? Right. And you're going to say maybe once a day, right? He goes,
once a week.
That's the same amount of time that you should be checking your emails. I was like, once a day. Okay, maybe I'll do twice or 3 times a day, but that's, so I try to really, when I'm focusing on something, I focus on the activity.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's just another reason that I think we energetically get along. I get fussed at from my kids for this exact thing. Half the time I don't know where my phone is. It's somewhere in the loft. It's here. And the second is it's always on silent unless someone is like in the hospital or, something major is happening. Then of course I'll turn it on. But I do that on purpose. So the running joke for our family is I tell my kids all the time, my spirit will tell me if it's a real situation and then I'll go get the phone. So my kids are like, but I called you 5 times. I was like, what did you want? Well, I wanted some money. You could have called your dad for that. He's right. He's right in the other room. He always has his phone on. You're good. Thank you so much, Vinnie, for coming and sharing your time with all of the Balance Boldly listeners. We value you and we honor you. And I cannot wait for our off-air conversation because this was amazing.
I appreciate you. Thank you for all the goodness you're doing out there.
Thank you. Balance Boldly listeners, I told you we were not playing in 2022 and forwards. Make sure you do what I ask all of you to do each and every episode. If you're brand new to the BBP, just follow along and play with me a little bit. I need you to honor the featured expert that we have. Make sure you follow Vinnie, go to his website, share it with one other person in your ecosystem that you know could benefit from this. That's first. And second, enjoy the balance of your day, but remember, do it boldly.